Welcome to the world of exploration. Welcome to the world of learning. Let's start exploring. Let's start learning. This is your very own educator, guru, preacher, teacher, educator, one and all. And this is the one-stop destination that is English Gurukul, the Odyssey of Education or the Edifice of Education by Sukriti Joshi ma'am. And let's all keep learning. Let's all keep growing. Let's all keep evolving, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Alright, yeah. So in today's session, just give me a moment, so we will be covering the third level, right? So the third level, I hope it is, yep, it is visible, right? So in today's session we will be covering the third level, which is written by Jack Finney, right? So first and foremost, what are we supposed to do? We are going to basically, now it's time to recall and recollect, right? So we are going to summarize the chapter, right? So let's get started, right? So 3 levels at Grand Central Railway Station, right? 1, 2, 3. The narrator feels that there are 3 levels at Grand Central Railway Station. Is it? Is it so? Right? Is it like that? You need to answer that question. You need to ponder over, right? So in reality, there are only 2. He has discussed this with his psychiatrist friend Sam Weiner. Sam feels that the narrator's experience is a waking dream wish fulfillment, right? What does he feel? That it's a waking dream wish fulfillment, right? Alright, so Sam feels that the narrator's experience is a waking dream wish fulfillment. He says that that is the narrator, is a unhappy modern man who is engulfed in insecurities and fears. So he's actually engulfed by the insecurities or the fears of modern day, right? So man wants, and so it's actually, it is for the mankind, because we all are in modern age now, and we all try to escape. We want to escape from the modern age because it is filled with insecurities, it is filled with fear, right? So we just don't want to live in this stressful life. We want an escape. So similarly, what do we get to see? That over here, the narrator is an unhappy modern man who is engulfed in insecurities and fears. So he wants an escape from his stressful life, right? Alright. Narrator's hobby of basically stamp collection, which acts as a kind of a refuge, right? So the narrator's psychiatrist friend says that the narrator's hobby of stamp collection is a temporary refuge from reality, right? So it acts as a temporary refuge from reality. What? His hobby of stamp collection, of collecting these stamps, right? The narrator does not agree with this interpretation, right? So the narrator does not agree with this interpretation. He argues that his grandfather lived in nice and peaceful times, and if this was the case, his grandfather did not need to run away from reality. So now what he's coming up with, what kind of interpretation he's coming up with, or what kind of an argument he's coming up with, he argues that his grandfather lived in nice and peaceful times, and if this was the case, his grandfather did not need to run away. He did not, why would he collect the stamps if it is a way of escaping the reality? Why would he collect the stamps in the very first place, right? So if this was the case, his grandfather did not need to run away from reality. Still, his grandfather pursued philately, right? Still, what do we get to see? That now we have been given this very important information, that is, his grandfather pursued philately, which is the collection and study of postage stamps. So philately is basically, so his grandfather studied philately, and philately is basically nothing but the collection and study of postage stamps. So you collect and you study the postage stamps, right? So then we come on to Charlie reaches the third level. Now Charlie reaches the third level. One summer night, Charlie worked late at office. In a hurry to get back home, he decided to take the subway from Grand Central, right? From where? From Grand Central, right? He crossed the arched doorway, heading for the subway, and got lost because it sort of acted as a kind of a labyrinth because he got lost, right? The narrator strongly feels that the Grand Central grows like a tree. So he feels that it grows like a tree. Grand Central grows like a tree, right? And pushes out new corridors. So it kind of pushes out new corridors and stairs like roots. So the narrator walks down a corridor. He finds nobody but hears empty sound of his own footsteps. So the narrator walks down a corridor and he finds nobody but hears empty sound of his own footsteps. He found himself at the third level at Grand Central Station. So he found himself at the third level at Grand Central Station. Clear? Then coming on to scenario at the third level, right? So we get to see scenario at the third level. The place was different. There were smaller rooms, fewer ticket windows, and open flame gas lights. Can you see any kind of difference over here? Can you see that? Just try to have an open mind and try to see what is there any difference, and if there is, what is the difference, right? So the place was different. There were smaller rooms, fewer ticket windows, and open flame gas lights there. The information booth was made up of wood and was looking ancient. Everybody at the station was they were dressed in the fashion of the late 19th century. In the late 19th century. To be sure, the narrator got a copy of The World. In order to be sure, the narrator got a copy of The World, dated June 11, 1894, right? Where the lead story was about President Cleveland, right? Where the lead story was about President Cleveland, right? So he got a copy of The World. This you need to remember, of The World, the name. Dated, you need to remember the date, right? Very important. June 11, 1894. June 11, 1894, right? Where and Cleveland. You need to remember the president. So we all know that who was the president? Cleveland, right? So the narrator goes to the ticket window and demands 2 tickets for Galesburg. Again, this you need to remember. Whatever I'm underlining and I'm telling you to remember, you need to remember that. So he demands 2 tickets for Galesburg, Illinois. He wants to go there with his wife Louisa. So we get to see the name of the wife has been mentioned, which is Louisa. So Louisa was his wife, who's narrator's wife, right? He imagines it to be a peaceful countryside in the year 1894. So he wants to go there with his wife Louisa. Where? To Galesburg, Illinois, right? So the narrator goes to the ticket window and demands 2 tickets, one for him and one for his wife. 2 tickets. Clear? Why? Because he also wanted to live in a peaceful environment, right, with his wife Louisa in the year 1894, right? When the First World War was 20 years away and the Second World War was 40 years away. So where the First World War was 20 years away and the Second World War obviously was 40 years away, right? So to his surprise, the clerk at the ticket counter does not accept his currency bills. Sensing trouble. So now, because why would he accept his currency bills? He will definitely not. The person who is sitting at the counter, he will definitely not accept the currency bills. Why? Because that era was different. His era, the narrator living in the era is different from the era that he actually wants to transcend into, right? So now he sensed the trouble. That means he was in trouble, right? The narrator runs away, right, from the 3rd level to escape jail, because if you are not jail was something that was there in that was there at that particular time as well, in that era as well. Clear? In 1894 it was there, right? And you cannot escape jail. Right? So yeah. Alright, so let's move forward. Charlie buys old currency. Now, Charlie buys old currency. The narrator withdraws $300 from the bank next day to buy the currency of 1890. Now, what he did not want to go to jail. Obviously, who wants to go to jail? Do you? Nobody wants to go to jail, right? So the narrator withdraws $300 from the bank next day to buy the currency of 1890. Not of his time, but of 1890, so that he could enter, right, and use that currency, because that the currency that was being used in his time was different from the currency that was used in 1890, in 1890s or in 1894, right? So his wife and psychiatrist friend are really worried over this. So his wife Louisa thinks that what has happened to my husband, like seriously, what has happened, what is he up to? And Sam is also like worried, and she's thinking that I haven't, aren't any fights, then why is he behaving like that? What kind of worry, what kind of anxiety does he have? Why does he have, I haven't done anything. So she's also worried, and that why has his behavior changed all of a sudden. So however, his $300 got reduced to $200 in old style bills. So he had $300, but it got reduced to $200 in old style bills, right? So then we find quest for the third level, right? So we find quest for the third level. So the narrator fails to understand the third level again. His wife is very worried and pursues Charlie to stop looking for the third level. So his wife is very worried. Like, she's so anxious. She's very anxious about Charlie, being in a state of uncertainty, right? So his wife is very worried and pursues Charlie to stop looking for the third level, that you should stop now, stop looking for third level, just stop it, right? So he assumes his hobby of stamp collection. So now he resumes his hobby. So he resumes his hobby of collecting stamps, right? So he resumes his hobby of collecting stamps. His psychiatrist friend Sam disappears, and soon the narrator and his wife get the proof of the existence of the third level. Now both of them start their futile search for the third level platform. The narrator believes that Sam is in Galesburg. So narrator is now of the belief that Sam is in Galesburg, right, in the year 1894. Now, why and how his psychiatrist friend Sam disappears? Where does he go? Was he the figment of imagination? Was he the creation, or did he exist in reality? That's the question that we should all ponder over. And whatever answer you guys are gonna write, please write along with the correct explanation that should justify it, right? All right. Then, the mystery of first day covers. When a new stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy it. So the mystery of first day covers. Now you guys might be wondering about what do you mean by first day covers. Now when a new stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy it first, right, and affix a new stamp. So stamp collectors, those who collect the stamp, right, they buy it first when the stamp is issued, right, and affix a new stamp on an envelope, and then they affix a new stamp on an envelope. They mail the envelope to themselves, on the first day, right, on the first day of the sale. The postman gives proof of the date. The postman is responsible for giving the post of the date, right? The envelope is never opened and nothing is written inside it. The envelope is never opened. It's never opened. And nothing is written inside it. Right? This is called first day cover. So nothing is written. So first, for example, you can take it wait a second. For example, you can just take this. For example, this is an envelope, right? And I have nothing is written on this envelope, right? So the postman gives proof of the date. So for example, I have given proof of that this is the date, right? And the envelope is never opened. This is an envelope and it is never opened, and nothing is written like usually you write, right? And then you give it, right? So then you send it, right? So herein nothing is written. This is called first day cover. While fussing with his stamp collection, the narrator finds a strange cover mailed to the narrator's grandfather's address in Galesburg. It has been present there since July 18, 1894. It bears a 6-cent stamp with the picture of President Garfield. The envelope contains a letter for Charlie by his friend Sam. Sam confirms the presence of the third level and advises the narrator to keep looking for it. He says it's worth it. It's worth it. Right? So while fussing with his stamp collection, the narrator finds a strange cover mailed to the narrator's grandfather's address in Galesburg. It has been present there since July 1894. You can just remember it like 18 and then 1894. That's it. So it bears a 6-cent stamps with a picture of President Garfield. The envelope contains a letter for Charlie by his friend Sam. Sam confirms the presence of the third level and advises the narrator to keep looking for it. He says it's worth it. Narrator's reality check on Sam. Charlie finds out that Sam had bought $800 worth of old style currency. So now Charlie finds out that Charlie finds out that Sam had bought $800 worth of old style currency. This money was sufficient to set up a hay, feed and grain business, which Sam dreamt of. Sam is a qualified psychiatrist but cannot go back to his profession in Galesburg of 1894 because the profession of psychiatrist did not exist at that time. Now, basically, what is the message that is being conveyed over here is it's very simple in nature. That in that era, if you go back, if you go down the memory lane, you will see that there did not exist any kind of like nowadays we do have a lot of mental issues, mental health issues, and problems that are happening. It could be so we do have a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists, but at that time we did not require any counselor, any psychologist, any psychiatrist. Why? Because diseases weren't there, because these mental issues, the traumatic issues, the diseases, the incidents, the horrific incidents that sometimes we do get to see and we do get to encounter, because of which mental health issues take place, they were not there, right? So, and his dream actually was also of having a grain business, a hay feed and grain business, which he now could open because he could not practice his psychiatry thing, because although he was qualified, but at that time it did not exist. It actually did not exist, right? So this is the difference. That's why they want to escape from the reality. It's not only about escaping from obviously it's about escaping from reality, because you want to go back wherein there were no problems, there were no suffering, there was no suffering, there was no pain, there was no agony, there were no such diseases that you need some psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor like we have now, relationship counselors, everything. So at that time they didn't need anyone, right? And life was not so moving, was not so fast paced that the way it is now, right? It was in fact very slow and smooth, right? So with this we come to the end of the session. I hope you liked it. So with this we come to the end of the session. I hope you liked it. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, do like and share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And sharing is caring, right? So please do share it with your friends, and please support my channel, guys. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Till then, let's all keep learning. Till then, let's all keep growing. Till then, let's all keep evolving, blooming and blossoming, right? This is Sukriti Joshi ma'am signing off. Bye bye. With this I would like to wrap up my session. Namaste, Jai Shri Krishna, Radhe Radhe.